Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. So in today's tutorial we're going to be learning how to make a dartless corset blouse with conical effects. And I have my paper here. I have my shoulder line, from my shoulder to my chest, from my shoulder to my bust point, from my shoulder to my under bust point, waist and hip as well. And I have my length line measured out and ruled out as well. Okay, so I went on to label them, and without wasting much time, I'm going to be dividing my shoulder measurement into two, marking it on the shoulder line and marking it on the chest line as well. After that, I'll get my ruler, rule it into a straight line. Okay, then next I'll be using neck width of 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark it and come down from my shoulder line by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and I'll go ahead and connect the lines together, okay, to achieve a shoulder slope. And next I'm going to divide what I have on my armhole line, then mark the midpoint, then come in by 0.5 inches, mark it, and divide my bust circumference by 4, mark it on the chest line. Then I'm going to be connecting the 3 lines together with my curve ruler, and that will form our front armhole line. Okay, so after connecting, next thing I'm going to do is to come down by 3 inches for my neck depth, okay, which is standard neck depth. So it's just for the purpose of guideline, we are going to be making use of a different neck line. Okay, so I went on to do that and I connected it as well. Okay, so remember our blouse is a dartless blouse and we are going to be using a ready-made cup for it. Okay, so next I'm going to get my cups. Okay, so this is my cup and it's not a push-up bra cup, all right, but don't worry, we are going to make it look like a push-up bra cup. Okay, so I am going to fold the cup into two. Okay, I'll go ahead and fold it into two this way, and the upper part I am going to be marking 0.5 inches from the folded line, from the folded edge. Okay, I'll go in by 0.5 inches, then come down by 2 inches, okay, and connect the line to form a mini dart. All right, so after I was done doing that, we are going to take it to our machine and we're going to sew it like a mini dart, just the way I mark it, and we'll do that on both sides, on both cups, sorry. So I was done sewing it. As you can see, I use a black thread to sew it so as to be visible to us. So I will go ahead and trim off the excess on both bra cup. Okay, then we are going to start using it for our project. Okay, so now before we start, we are going to get our bust bridge. Okay, that means I'm going to come down from the bust point line, come up by bust point line by 1 inch, and also go down from that bust point line by 1 inch as well. Okay, and the lines are going to be our bust bridge. Okay, so now we'll have 3 lines for our bust bridge. The 1 inch we came down from the bust points, okay, and the 1 inch we went up from the bust point and the bust point line as well. Then on the folded part I'll go in by 0.5 inches and I'm just going to connect the lines. Okay, so you're going to choose any of the lines you prefer for as your bust bridge. Okay, so mine, I'm going to be choosing the 1 inch above the bust point line. Okay, because I don't want my bust to appear too revealing. All right, so I'm going to place the folded part of my bust, my bra cup, on that 1 inch. Okay, ensuring that it's touching that 1 inch I went up with. Okay, then another thing you are going to ensure is that the down part is touching the under bust line. Okay, it is very important. Okay, ensure that the down part touches the under bust line, and next you're going to place your hand on it, ensuring that you are not applying pressure to it. It shouldn't be pressed on. Okay, you're just going to hold it, and next I'm going to pick my pen. I am going to trace the line. Okay, so I'm going to be using my pen to trace the line first, and after I was done doing that, I'm going to use my marker to highlight the line. So please pay attention to what I'm doing and you will follow along. So I was done doing that, and I went on to pick my marker as well, and I traced the line. Okay. So I was done tracing the line, and as you can see, we have the shape of our bra cup here. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is to impute the rest of the body measurements. I'll divide my bust circumference by 4, and I'll mark it on the chest area and the bust line. And I'm going to be snatching my waist with 3 inches. So that implies that if your waist circumference is 30, you're going to subtract 3 inches from that 30. You'll be left with 27. You divide that 27 by 4, and that is what you're going to be marking on the waist line. Okay. So next I'm going to divide my hip circumference by 4, and I'm going to be ruling it. Okay, so go ahead and divide your bust, under bust, waist and hip by 4, and mark each on their appropriate lines. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to pick my ruler and I'm going to connect the lines together. Okay. So I was done, and I went on to pick my ruler to connect the lines together. So when I was done connecting the line together, I realized that I needed to make a little adjustment, and I went on to do that as well. So please, whenever you notice adjustment, do not hesitate to do that on your paper before you transfer to your main fabric. So remember, our blouse is a conical effect blouse, and that implies that we are going to be adding the conical effects on our paper as well. Okay, so I'm going to come down on the hip line, and I'm going to be measuring extra 3 inches. Okay, extra 3 inches on the hip line. Okay, so I'll go ahead and measure 3 inches from the hip line area, and I'll go ahead and connect it to the waistline. So I was done adding the extra inches, and I went on to connect. So the next thing I'm going to do is on that same hip line, I am going to come up by 1.5 inches. Okay, this is to ensure that I don't have a pointed edge there, or that place looking too sharp. Okay, so after coming up by 1.5 inches, I'm going to pick my curve ruler and I'll connect it back to the main um bodice. Okay, the main hem. All right, so at this point you may choose to style your hem to your preferred styling. Okay, but me, I'm just very okay with what I have here. Okay, so next I am going to come over to our neckline. Remember I said I'm going to be using another neckline, and that is V neckline. So I want to use a V neckline for my blouse. Okay, so I'm just going to pick my ruler and connect from my neck to my bust bridge. Okay, and I'm going to make the connection to form a V. Okay, around there. So I went on to connect. Okay, you can see what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to fold my paper into 2. Remember, I have extra paper left here. I'll fold it into 2 and pick up my tracing wheel, and I'm going to trace our back part. All right. So I was done tracing my back part, and I went on to highlight the lines with my marker, as you can see right here. Okay, so this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do is to determine what I want to use for my neck depth. Remember, our neck width remains the same, but I am going to be changing my neck depth. Okay, so for my neck, for the neck depth of my back, I'm going to come down from that neck line by 2 inches. Okay, I'll measure 2 inches down, and I'm going to pick my curve ruler and I'm going to connect the neck. All right, so after that, I'm going to be determining what I'm going to be using for my lacing, the wideness of my lacing. Okay, so I want the wideness of my lacing at the hem to be 2 inches. Okay, that is 1 inch on fold. When I open it up, I will be having 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark down 1 inch at the hem line, and the upper part I will go ahead and measure 2 inches on fold. That is when I open it up, I'll have 4 inches. And on the 2 inches mark that I made on the neckline, I'm going to come down again by another 2 inches. Then I will mark on it. Then on the chest line, I am also going to mark from the folded part to the chest line by 2 inches. Then I also come down and make another marking of 1 inch. Okay, just so that when I connect, I'll have the right shape there. I'll pick up my straight ruler and I'll connect. So after connecting, on the chest line, I am going to the chest line close to where my eyelines will be staying, I'm going to go up by 0.5 inches, and I'm going to connect it back to the chest line towards the armhole. This is to avoid gaping for our back. All right, and I went on to shade that part after connecting, indicating that we're going to cut it out while cutting out our pattern. Okay, so with that, our pattern is ready. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the fabric we're going to be using to cover our bra. Okay, so I have this Mikado fabric here. That is what I'm going to be using for this project. Okay, so I went on to fold the fabric into 4. Okay, so I fold the fabric into 4, and I went on to measure 5 inches. So at first I measured 5 inches, then after which I adjusted it to 5.5 inches. So please go ahead and use 5 inches instead of 5.5 inches, because at the end I still trimmed it. Okay, and also ensure that when you are tracing the back armhole, make sure you use the back armhole, not the front armhole. Okay, so first I went on to cut first. Okay, so I went on to cut, and this is what we have. Okay, for the back, and I also cut out the yoke separately. Then for the front, you can see the bra cup area, you can see how it's looking, and also cut out my yoke for the front separately. Okay, so I'll set it aside like I earlier said and continue with our bra cup cover. Okay, so I have this Duchess like I earlier mentioned, and I folded it, and I'm going to cut out something looking, a shape looking like circle. So I'm going to be measuring it as if I'm cutting a circle. I'll go ahead and cut it out. Okay, so after cutting it out, remember this fabric is folded into 4. So after cutting it out, I'm going to open it up, and when I open it up, it will be looking like a mini circle. So we are going to mark on the midpoint of that mini circle, and we are going to be going in by 1.5 inches. Sorry. Okay, so we are going to go up by 1.5 inches. Okay, on this folded part. Okay, you see the part I'm talking about. Go up by 1.5 inches and come down by 1.5 inches as well, and I'll go ahead and cut it out. And after cutting it out, it will be looking like a bustier shape. Okay, so I'll open it up and show you how it's going to be looking like. Okay, so I went on to cut it out, as you can see, and I open it up. This is how it's looking like. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting eight of these, 4 pieces on my main fabric and 4 pieces on my lining piece. But before that, I went on to place my paper on the fabric I'm working with and cut it out. Okay, so I went out to add my needed allowances. I added my allowances where necessary. Okay, you can see on the side I went on to add 2 inches. Okay, I went on to add 2 inches on the side, and I also went on to add 0.5 inches on the yoke. Okay, then on the bra area I added 0.5 inches, as you can see. then on the side 2 inches like I earlier mentioned. Okay, so I didn't add anything on the hem because the length is just okay. Okay, so this is the back, and I went on to cut the yoke as well, 2 pieces, and also cut lining piece for them as well. So the bra cover also went ahead to cut the 8 pieces, 4 for main fabric and 4 for lining piece. So this is what we have. Please, if you have watched up to this point, you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit on the subscribe button and stay tuned to my channel. If you have any question, you can also drop it on the comment section. Okay, so see you when I am going to be dropping the sewing tutorial. Please stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. Thank you so much, love you, bye.